Hello and welcome to the Let's Talk Football channel. Today, it's another episode of the Premier League show, and we've got him again. We had him on the Champions League and the Europa League show. It's us. How's it doing? How's it going?
Not too bad, man. Back at again for the second time. Obviously, found it really fun for the first time, so yeah, it's going to be good. Obviously, this time it's the Premier League. Obviously, we're fans of the English game, so it's going to be probably better because we know more about these clubs, so yeah, it's going to be fun.
And as always, obviously myself and Ethan as well. So.
Can't forget that, man.
Yeah, mate. Right. So we'll get straight into it then, starting with reviewing the games that took place today as a recording, Saturday's games. We'll start off with the Fulham game. It took place yesterday, but I thought we'd include it since it's like part of the weekend fixture, if you know what I mean. They've been played since it was yesterday. So Fulham, they were at home and they suffered a 1-0 defeat to Wolves. So what do you think of that, Ethan?
Well, finally Adama Traore scored.
Yeah.
It's about time.
It is about time, mate. Very good finish as well. I think the keeper should have maybe should have saved it, but a good finish from Traore to get the goal for Wolves, and needed 3 points for Wolves because they've been struggling recently. So, but on Fulham's end, it's just going downhill. But they are a good team, Fulham. They aren't like one of these like Sheffield United you think, oh, they're going down. They're actually a decent side, Fulham, on the day. So I hope they stay up. Because I don't want to face them in the Championship for Stoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good luck to Fulham for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, so thoughts on that result, Has?
Yeah, great result, obviously, for Wolves. Not doing as well as the Premier League as some people thought. Obviously, they're missing their top striker, and Jota, of course, went to Liverpool, so they've been struggling. Obviously up top, trying to find that main man that's going to give him constant goals, and hopefully for Wolves, Traore has found his stride. He's a really good player, and it's sad that he hasn't really found that consistency for Wolves. But got a goal tonight, a really good goal. Obviously been showing his pace in that game. Close game actually. Fulham were quite unlucky not to get a goal, but overall, good performance of Wolves, and I guess on Fulham's side, it's quite an annoying loss because their last game, again, they could have got a result, but they didn't. Twice in a row, that it's been quite frustrating for Fulham, and obviously in the relegation battle with Newcastle, and I guess Brighton too. So we'll see how the remainder of the season is for Fulham, but currently it's not looking too good.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's... I almost feel sorry for Fulham. It's like they've started really playing some like decent style of football. Really, the way they play, if you actually watch them, they do play quite a good quality of football, considering like the level they're at, and the caliber of players they've got, and what they're expected to do. But I don't know, they can't quite get results over the line at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is a big issue, really, if they want to try and stay up. In terms of Wolves, I think of recent, they've been really poor. I know this season overall they have dropped from where they were previous. But, I mean, I think, obviously they got the win. But for me, this sums up Fulham for me, right? They can get the job done, but they're not convincing this season. I mean, realistically, I know Fulham are improving, but it's still a side that could well get relegated, and they're only able to just about clinch, a 1-0 win. So for me, it just shows that Fulham, they can get it, Wolves, they can get it done, but they're still not convincing enough yet. But, I'd say at least they got the 3 points, and I mean, hopefully Fulham, they can use the good performances they're having and turn that into results as well.
And also, when you were saying about Jota as well, you can't forget the main man, Mexican Raul Jimenez. He's been off for how many days now with the head injury, which was awful, by the way. Looked really painful. He's actually in training now, so hope he can find his goal-scoring form again.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, though, that just exposes the poor business that Wolves did in the summer because they got, in previous transfer windows, because they got Willian Jose in and, he's had his opportunity with Jimenez being out and he's done absolutely nothing with it. So, I mean, there's two sides to it.
Sorry to interrupt, but obviously, even with the attempt for a new transfer, someone like William Jose could have at least attempted to fill the boots of Jota and Jimenez from last season. And I think when you don't have a main striker like that, it's sort of it makes loose ends for the rest of the team. There's no midfielders that can give balls to the striker. There's no support. It's they've got the team there, but there's nothing to obviously finish a set play, for example, and that's probably what's played was this season.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on then, going to the earliest kickoff game we had today, probably the biggest shocker, really, of the day, which is Man City. They're at home against Leeds United. You're thinking, Leeds not, they can cause issues, but should be a comfortable win for Man City. Well, Man City lost 2-1. And not just that, it's at home, and Leeds United were down to 10 men, and Leeds still got a 2-1 victory away at the Etihad. What did you think of that, Haz?
Unreal. I mean, you only have to look at the stats to see how much of a surprise it is. I mean, 71 possession and 29 shots on goal compared to Leeds is 2. Used 2 to get 2 goals, right? I mean, that's just concise in a nutshell, really. And 29 attempts for Man City shows that Leeds played a very tactically good game. Used everything in their power to stop Man City. Obviously, they got riding off a really good Champions League win, so you would have thought they would have smashed Leeds, even with the tactical prowess of Bielsa, but obviously, that didn't happen, and Leeds just took the chances. Again, Dallas getting both goals, which, as an individual performance, carried Leeds in a sense. It was a team performance, but, you have to have one person to get those 2 goals, and props to him. So, overall, shock performance. I suppose there isn't that much pressure on Man City right now. It's a one-horse race in the league, but, it's a game against 2 teams, and Leeds got the upper hand, so fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, Ethan, your thoughts on that result?
Well, to be honest, the red card was actually given as a yellow card at first from the referee. Right. He actually went to VAR and gave it a straight red. So for Liam Cooper, I didn't think it was a red card, straight away red card.
Well, I'll be honest, right? I seen that red. In my opinion, if you look at a couple of snapshots from it, I think that is a red. I think the challenge was dangerous and reckless. I do think he deserved to get sent off, in my opinion.
In slow-mo, it looks bad. It does look bad in slow-mo, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is. In my opinion.
I don't know. I tell you what, just quickly, I'm just going to quickly say, guys, right, if you've seen the red card, or you're going to check the red card out, check it out. Comment down below who you agree with on that. Do you agree with Ethan that it's not straight red, or do you agree with
really tough
me?
Decision, really,
I think it is. Yeah. But comment down below your opinion on that, by the way. Well, anyway, I'll let you carry on.
Brilliant performance from Leeds. Bloody smash and grab, mate, with their performance.
Yeah.
Very, what's the word?
Efficient, I'd say.
No. It's, fuck's sake. Oh, we'll leave it.
Lost words.
Stuart Dallas's goals were brilliant, honestly. First goal hits the post and goes in. Absolutely brilliant. And if you saw the average map heat of each Man City player, everyone is literally in the Leeds half, except for Madison, who's on the edge of his box.
Yeah.
Which just shows how dominant Man City were, but can't take the chances.
Yeah.
To be fair, Guardiola, I don't know what he was thinking of with the team lineup. He played Zinchenko at CDM, which I thought, what?
Yeah.
Would you play Zinchenko
Yeah,
at
but
CDM?
listen. Yeah, but for
Definitely
me,
not.
no, I get that, but at the same time, right, he's thinking in his head, if you think about it, right, Premier League should be sealed up. I've still got some good quality players playing in this starting 11 that should get the job done. And I've got to think about a very important fixture coming up against Dortmund. So I think there's a bit of excusing.
I suppose, yeah.
That's why De Bruyne, Foden, and all them players like that weren't playing today. They were on the bench, but did come on.
Yeah.
For like 10, 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But credit to Leeds. I thought Bamford should have scored. Literally, ball comes in. John Stones, he doesn't even make like a touch on the ball. So he's got no excuse of him touching the ball. It just goes behind him. I think it's just his movement is like slightly off. Yeah. And he should have scored, really, Bamford, before being taken off because of the red card.
Yeah.
But no, good performance from Leeds. I think Ravina was brilliant. On the right, just kept causing fouls on him. Fernandinho kept tackling him, foul, every day of the week. I'm pretty sure he got a dead leg as well in that game. So good performance from Leeds. And Marco Bielsa, he's done one over Pep.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd say I think it shows two things for Man City. Obviously, missing the key players that would have started, like you're saying. And the other thing it shows for me is that the same issue that I think Man City have been nearly caught out for before in games. They get a bit complacent at times. Like Man City at times look too confident in themselves. And I think when they miss these chances and they're so dominant and they're not getting more goals, I think sometimes they do have a bit of complacency. Almost too much belief that they'll get the win anyway. When you look at them play at times. But when they flick the switch and they do actually fully go for it and they lose that complacency, they can tear anybody apart. So I think that's a bit of a frustration with Man City. Saying that, I'm sure they'll probably secure a good win in the Champions League because they won't have that complacency because it's not already a decided game, is it?
Yeah, it's not like there's no guarantees when it comes to the Champions League, and anything can happen, home or away. So they'll definitely have their head screwed on for a competition like that. Yeah, exactly.
Some of the players are actually like fresh.
Yeah, exactly. They'll have to keep players starting back again as well. In terms of the red card, I did think it was red. After when you watch it, like I'm never quite sure, but just seeing some like photos taken of it, some shots and angles on it, and I just think I do think it is a reckless challenge, and I think it's the top level of football, so you should know better than that to do that. But for me, I'd say that was red. But I mean, fair play to Leeds. They've done a classic Leeds job, I think, to be honest, which is let the other team dominate, let them get comfortable, think they've got it, we'll counter and we'll make them pay. I think Leeds do that a lot. They're very good at doing that. Doesn't always pay off that type of style, that counter-attacking forward press, but it has done today. So fair play to Bielsa, and a poor one from Man City, but they could bounce back with a good win in the Champions League. Anyway, moving on then. We'll go to the Liverpool game. Liverpool at home against Aston Villa, and Liverpool got a 2-1 win, although it was a last gasp goal, wasn't it, Haz?
It was, yeah. Well, before we actually go into the game, finally Liverpool have got their head screwed on and finally won a home game after so long. I don't know the games exactly, how long it took, but it happened. finally happened, and off the back of a frustrating Real Madrid loss again, just like any other side, they wanted to prove themselves in the league. Obviously in the league, they're consecutive wins, but it's nice to see a home win for once. And considering this is the game I'll watch, I can give a decent overview. Throughout the game, obviously, Aston Villa got that first goal, and I can't really fault Aston Villa. Throughout the game, they played really well, probably matching the intensity of what Liverpool gave out until the last 15 minutes of the game. They equalled us in terms of like winning balls, like, you know, creativity. Like, I mean, sure, if you look at stats, you know, 66% possession for Liverpool and 23 shots to 9. It does show the dominance put forth by Liverpool, but for Aston Villa, the creativity and just the mentality was really admirable, really, and Aston Villa played a good game. However, obviously, didn't get the win. 2 pretty solid goals from Liverpool, especially Trent Alexander-Arnold's. Obviously, that last gasp chance outside the box, just flicking a switch, really. We were pressing, and you know, back in my mind, a goal was going to come, but obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold proving his attacking prowess to Southgate again. You know, it's that debate of whether, like, his attacking, what's been come from attacking is good enough so you can, I guess, forget about the defensive errors he has. And defensively, it was pretty good as well in that game. But it's just that like decision of whether you think attacking is proving enough that you kind of don't have to worry about the defensive errors he has. So overall, I think it was a great performance by Liverpool, and key players such as Trent Alexander-Arnold played a really good game, and we'll see if that carries on over to the second leg of the Champions League.
Yeah, fair enough. Ethan, your opinion on that game?
To be fair, I think Aston Villa deserved at least a point. At least. I mean, to be fair, like, the disallowed goal after the Aston Villa goal for Liverpool for Firmino, that was silly. That should have been given as a goal. It's like, come on, it's literally his forearm. It's not even his whole arm, it's his forearm. That's offside.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's like, come on,
they're the rules, so
you can't even control that.
You can't, but they're the rules, so I don't agree with them, but they are the rules.
Yeah, I know they're the rules. I think that should have been given, man.
Well, but that's a matter of changing the rules. Well, in that situation, if they're the rules, they have to enforce that.
Yeah, it's the frameworks you have to live by. Like, sure, you can talk about how, you know, the goal was good, but you know, at the end of the day, it's like it's yes or no. It's like, sure, like, it was a good goal, but technically he had the advantage of getting over the defender, how small it is, which is stupid because it's a game and it's football and it shouldn't be that technical, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, so I'll go with the Aston Villa goal. Alisson should have saved it. I don't know how he hasn't. Yes, Ollie Watkins is a great striker, and this is why he should be over Bamford, in my opinion. But no, I think he still should have saved it. I knew he's lacking in confidence in that, but he still should have saved it. But Salah's goal, yeah, good awareness of the rebound, to be fair. So, another goal for Salah, by the way. Even though Liverpool haven't been the best this season, another goal for Salah. Brilliant.
Yeah, he's been really consistent.
Trent's goal, just so nice to watch, honestly. Just so nice to watch.
Yeah.
Against a really world-class goalkeeper, Emi Martinez, as well. It just shows his quality, attackingly.
Yeah.
Defensively in that game, he did improve. But should he be playing? Literally, the amount of times I've heard Trent Alexander-Arnold and England today is ridiculous when England squad announcement.
Yeah.
We're nowhere near it yet.
I think that just shows, really.
Come on.
Yeah,
leave it till the rest of the season, then we'll decide.
Because
you never know, Reece James might have a blinder.
The thing is,
Chelsea.
Southgate though, he will have already got his squad there knowing Southgate.
Yeah, well, he's true. I think we were on about it, Warren, weren't we? About Gareth Southgate knowing his England squad already.
Yeah, he's already come out and said that. He'll have it there already. He's quite stubborn on things. He won't change his mind. He won't know, I don't think.
Anyway, that's all I've got to say about the Liverpool game. Good 3 points for Liverpool after the Real Madrid loss. And hopefully they can build momentum on to come back to Anfield against Real Madrid. Yeah,
I mean, I can't say as much on this game because I would have watched this game, but then I decided, since I'm a Stoke fan, to watch the Stoke game, which I regretted more and more as the game went on. Well, that's just how it is.
We're playing for nothing. Come on.
Anyway, I'm not going to go into Stoke. We'll be talking about that monstrosity more than enough in the Stoke review when we do that. So, Anyway, so all I can really say on it is just looking at the scoreline as it is, to be honest, since I missed it. I mean, for Liverpool, I know it's a last-minute goal, but I'd say that for them is probably the best way for them to get 3 points if they want a confidence boost. Because there's something about getting it right at the end, right to the death, that that's one of the best ways, in some ways, to win a game. Just for the boost that you'll get from that you've kept going right till the end.
I just want to add to that as well. I think a lot of people forget. I'm not saying this was all the time, but when we did win the league, quite a few of the games we won were
close.
85 to 90 minute goals.
Well, look at the Leicester game at home.
Yeah. There's so many examples, Everton with Origi, just these memorable moments. And I think people, because we've been in such bad form, they'll look at a game like this where it's been 2-1 and be like, oh, Liverpool, super lucky, because we're in bad form. People forget a lot of these games is how we won the league, and I think it's an easy thing to forget, obviously, but we're definitely getting back in our stride. It's just slow building and we'll see what happens by the end of the season.
Yeah,
I can say though, with Aston Villa, they are definitely missing Jack Grealish. Definitely. Well, you can tell.
I mean, to be honest, I think Aston Villa have been a bit exposed for that. How much they actually rely on Jack Grealish. But I think, Luke, I'd say 3 points are 3 points. And that's the main thing for Liverpool now. Because they're trying to get a last-minute push for, at least top 6, but, trying to see if they can try and get top 4. So for them, that's all that matters. They got the win over the line, and hopefully that gives them some confidence for the Champions League second leg. Like you say, it's big for them to win at home as well because that gives them some confidence at their home ground, which they're going to need when they're facing Real Madrid 3-1 down. So
good point.
Yeah, fair enough to him. Moving on then. So final game of today for the Prem. Crystal Palace were at home against Chelsea and suffered a 4-1 defeat. Now, I will say I actually did watch this one, so I've got my opinions on this. But yeah, I'll go to you, Ethan, first on what you think.
Yeah, Chelsea were too good for Crystal Palace. You can tell the quality's there for Chelsea, and Kai Havertz actually scored for Chelsea, so that's good for Chelsea fans. Mount was everywhere. He was on the ball all the time. Mount was superb. But other than that, Chelsea was just so good against Crystal Palace. I will say though, Benteke, what a header. Absolute brilliant header. Thumping into them, mate. Like a cannon.
Unreal.
But that's all I've got to say. Chelsea, Mount, superb. Chelsea, 4 goals. And then another 3 points to push him for top 4.
Yeah, Benteke, a cannon that comes out once every 2 years.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I mean, for me, my opinion on this is that Chelsea were, dominant in the game, and the goals he scored as well, they're brilliant goals. Havertz, that's a good little finish. Give him some more confidence because he's not been as good as we would have expected like this season, but he's growing into it, which will be good for him, unlike other people, Werner. But, I thought they had some good, well-worked goals. They deserved the scoreline that they got. Crystal Palace, for me, just sums up, this result sums up Crystal Palace as a whole, right? Yeah, they're not going to go down or anything, obviously, but they play and a lot of Crystal Palace fans have been complaining about it, they play a rubbish style of football. It's their football is boring. There's no threat to the way they play. I'm going to be honest. I've seen some other people say this as well on social media. They could be in trouble. Roy Hodgson could be in trouble next season if fans are back in because fans will not enjoy watching that football. So right now, fans aren't there like in your face, but they won't enjoy watching that style of play that Crystal Palace have got right now under Roy Hodgson. But yeah, fair play to Chelsea. Got the job done. Banged in some goals. Good confidence. Move on now. Should have a lot of confidence against Porto, where they're already a couple of goals up. Could be a really good end to this whole campaign for Chelsea.
People have been saying like earlier in the season about Roy Hodgson like leaving, like retiring.
I mean,
I feel rumours like that have been going on for a little bit though.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, I've got to be honest with you, like, not to be nasty, but he really cares because and I say that because Luke, right? He's done an okay job at best. He retires, great, get a better brand of football. If he doesn't retire and he stays there, great. You won't get relegated, but enjoy watching crap football every single week. So, I mean, it depends what you'd rather settle with, but there you go. How's your opinion on this game?
Obviously, I didn't really watch this match. I'm just going off the stats on this one, but it just shows, apart from, the game they had at West Brom, Chelsea's last performances have really shown how they're, obviously, again, apart from Werner, but the new transfers and how they've interlinked and have improved this Chelsea squad, whether it be through just individual performances or just making up a better team. And, Thomas Tuchel, obviously taken over, has really, I guess, inspired some, obviously, a different style of football, but, making the most out of the players that he's got, I think, is the main thing. You keep going on about Mason Mount, but it's true. Mason Mount is, for a player, outperforming massively. And I think it just shows the quality of having an experienced manager at a club like Chelsea and using the resources that you have to the best of his ability, really. So overall, a great performance by Chelsea. On the Crystal Palace side, obviously I didn't watch the game, but judging by the stats, only one shot, which was the shot by Benteke, which got them 1 goal. Throughout 90 minutes of play. I mean, you're on about the style of play being very boring. I think that just shows it without even watching the game.
Yeah.
36% of possession as well. It's just too careful and not taking any risks.
Exactly.
Just doing a safe performance, knowing what you're going to get. And that's what I mean. That's what you're saying. Like, you're not going to get relegated, but you're not going to get anywhere because it's just a mediocre, very safe performance by Palace. I think that's been shown throughout the last probably 6 games.
Exactly.
From my memory. So overall, really good performance by Chelsea, and like you said, it's going to give them a lot of confidence for the Champions League.
Yeah, All right, and so we'll move on to score predictions then for Sunday's Premier League games. Starting with 12 o'clock kickoff, Burnley. Oh, what a cracker of a game this is, by the way. And if you've got Sky Sports, you're a lucky guy because you'll definitely be tuning in for this, right? Listen to this. Burnley at home against Newcastle.
Wow.
Oh.
Crazy.
Anyway, what do you think the score will be for this one, Ethan?
Well, it's a shit game. Let's be honest. It's a shit game.
Yeah.
I know we're being all sarcastic, but let's be honest. It's a shit game.
Yeah, I was just trying to do it in a polite way through the sarcasm.
Yeah, I know. But I think Burnley have got better quality than Newcastle right now. Like, Newcastle's just dreadful. I hate that. Like, no, I don't hate to say it. Fuck Newcastle.
What?
Dickhead.
Oh my days.
Mate, like,
What's wrong
Careful
with
you blaming
Newcastle?
it for Newcastle.
Hold on, what's wrong with Newcastle?
well, Steve Bruce.
I know, but you just said F Newcastle, right? So you're making it sound like F Newcastle just as a club.
Again,
nothing-
you've got to be
nothing wrong.
careful to judge it.
I'm going to say, right, I wish Newcastle the best. I don't wish Steve Bruce the best. I think they need a new manager. But I wish Newcastle the best because they deserve a hell of a lot more than what they're getting right now. They're great fans.
Yeah, the club, like the owners, for example. That's like, I think that's the biggest letdown.
Yeah,
Then it's
but,
Steve Bruce. Then it's
Well, I'd say Steve. I'd say the owners are massive, but to be fair, they've had Ashley there for a while. They've still done better than what they're doing right now under previous managers.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah.
So, but go on, yeah, your prediction for this.
Yeah, Newcastle do have quality, but they're injured most of the time now. But I think Burnley have got enough quality to beat them, and it will be a boring game. But I think Burnley can nick it, and I'm going to say 1-0 Burnley.
Okay, fair enough. How's your score prediction for this one?
Yeah, again, both teams with not the most exciting styles of play in similar places in the league, both, edging relegation. I think Burnley will probably be safe, but, close points either way.
Yeah.
And in terms of the both teams, again, I haven't really kept the most closest of eye on both these teams, but I could probably say Newcastle, as bad as they are, probably play a bit more of well, not really. I think both teams play quite safe, especially Newcastle. But the thing is with Burnley, sure they play safe, but I think as a team, as a full unit, they know what each other is doing, and they can sort of coordinate quite well. That's just not defensively either. That's just possession based, and they can make a lot with what little they have. I think is the best way of putting it. So on that basis, I'll probably just say, hate to be boring, but I'll probably agree with Ethan and have a 1-0 win for Burnley for that game.
Okay, fair enough. For me, this is the game that's going to get Steve Bruce the sack because it's two lower level quality sides. Not to be harsh, but Burnley are really good as a unit at times. But if you pick it out individuals, it's not the best quality. Just same as Newcastle. So for me, it's more of a manager versus manager. Whoever sets the team up better is probably the one that'll get the points. I think Newcastle are a mess. Bruce has fallen out with some of his own players. He's getting involved with mini arguments, even mini little fights. I just think it's a mess. I actually think this will be the game that gets Newcastle, that gets Steve Bruce sacked, because I think Burnley are going to win 4-0. Listen, because
When's the last time Burnley done that?
Yeah, but when is the last time that Burnley have played a defence this bad? Because this defence is awful. Listen, there's no...
Castle. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, that's fair enough.
There's no I'd say all the Championship clubs have got a better defence than Newcastle. And it's brutally honest. If you look at the way Newcastle defend, it's an absolute disgrace. I'm being serious. I could defend better than some of the goals they've conceded. It's a disgrace.
True.
It's a disgrace. I think Dash he's gonna get the lads and he's gonna set his team up and he's gonna say to him, look, right, we want to make sure we're definitely secure. We should be. Look at how bad this Newcastle side is. Look at the state they're in. Go for it today. Because this is a chance you've got to make sure you definitely get, another 3 points on the board. Get some goals in there because their defence is bad. It is a really bad defence. It is the worst defence in the league, I'd say, really. Exactly. Yeah. So, for me, I think Newcastle are going to have a 4-0 thrashing. Steve Bruce is going to get the sack. They'll have the same crappy owner in Mike Ashley next season. It'll just be a new manager. And it'll be a similar story, but just not quite as bad as it is right now. But yeah, I'm going to say 4-0 Burnley anyway. So moving on then. This again. I didn't get this at all right. So it's 5 past 2 kickoff, right?
5 past 2?
Not 2 o'clock. Not 2 o'clock. Specifically 5 minutes past, right?
Bloody hell.
West Ham are at home. And this should be a good fixture, actually.
Yeah.
Definitely a good fixture. West Ham.
Fixture, actually.
West Ham at home against Leicester City, right? So I'm going to go to Haz first on what he thinks the score will be here.
Yeah, honestly, I'd say a very close game. Both teams play really good attacking football to watch, so it's going to be a fun game to watch. It's not going to be a dull game. If you look at the league, both teams are fighting for the top 4. I think Leicester definitely have that advantage when it comes to solidifying their place in the top 4. However, West Ham are knocking on the door, and they've had a few close results in their past games. West Ham have. So I think Leicester do have the edge. However, it's going to be a close game, and I think there's probably going to be a few individual performances for Leicester that are probably going to decide the fate of the match, because it's going to be 2 attacking sides. There's going to have to be 1 or 2 players that are going to have to, add some creativity to, get like a second goal, maybe a clutch final goal like Liverpool, for example, in that game. So I'd probably say 2-1 Leicester for the game. Okay,
fair enough. Ethan, your score prediction for this one?
Yeah, this is one of the best fixtures of the weekend, really.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of quality and placement and how important it is. If this game was a draw, I could see Chelsea and Liverpool capitalising on it in the league. But I think, in terms of quality, I think Leicester have got a slight tad more better quality than West Ham. I am actually going to say 2-1 Leicester.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I think West Ham, if they win this game against Leicester, they go back to 4th. For me, West Ham know how important this is. They've got the desire. They've got the quality as well. Lingard, Antonio, just the way, especially them two, the way they play. Even Bowen, right? Yeah, he comes on the other night against Wolves.
True, yeah.
And you're thinking, because I think it was Antonio who came off. You're thinking, this is a bit of a loss. And he pops up and scores a brilliant goal. West Ham have just, every single player is just filled with confidence right now. They're full of it, full of confidence. And I think West Ham are going to have more desire and more hunger to get the 3 points than Leicester. And I think West Ham are going to win 3-1. I think this game will be the game that puts them in 4th, and I think they'll stay 4th as well. I think they're going to get champions.
If West Ham do win, they'll be a point behind Leicester.
Yeah.
In 3rd.
Exactly.
So that's massive.
Exactly, yeah. So puts pressure on Leicester as well, if that happens. But yeah, I'll go with a 3-1 West Ham win. Right, moving on then. 4:30 kick-off. Tottenham, another good game, really. Tottenham at home against Man United. What do you think the score will be for this one, Ethan?
Well, both good sides in their own right, I guess. But they are decent sides, aren't they? They are decent sides.
Maybe about 5 years ago.
Yeah, 5 years.
But,
go on.
I just think Tottenham are too inconsistent, and I think they'll slip up. And I think United, away, brilliant away from home. So I'm going to say 2-0 Man United.
Okay, fair enough. Has your score prediction for this one?
Yeah, I agree with most of the points there. Spurs really are quite... I think the best way to describe that team is just disconnected. There's quite a few players in that side that have quality, and a lot of it, Kane, for example. Even the likes of, these new transfers which didn't really turn up well at the start, like Dembele, have been improving quite a lot, I would probably argue. But there's just nothing really connecting the team. And that might just be to do with just chemistry. Obviously, the comments made by Jose Mourinho has probably been reflected that tenfold when it comes to training and just instructions, and it's just quite disconnected. And and then compared to Man United, I think Man United this season have definitely found their stride, found that chemistry, found individuals that actually want to work well. And you were talking about being a unit before, like Burnley, but with Man United, not only they're a unit and they're like one in a sense, but they can actually capitalise on pretty much every chance they make in the final third. They're devastating, really. So when it comes to playing against Tottenham and Tottenham's defence at this current state, it's not going to be looking pretty for Tottenham. So I'd say a final score. I'm probably going to say 3-1 Man United.
Okay, fair enough. Look, for me, I would usually go for a Tottenham loss, to be honest, regardless of who they're playing. Just because they have been awful, and like you say, the fallouts between the players and Jose constantly throwing his players under the bus. Sat when he had that interview over a week ago, and they were saying, how come, you used to be able to hold on to leads, Jose? How come that's not happening anymore? And he replied with, same coach, different players. Sort of throwing his players under the bus again there, because he's insulting them, quality-wise compared to the teams he had before. But I'd say, look, obviously he used to manage Man United, so I think Tottenham always give more fight when they play United under Jose. And I think Jose puts that fight in them for that United game, because Jose, we know what Jose's like. He loves to do one over his old sides. And another thing as well that's going to spur Tottenham on here, right? No pun intended. Is that Harry Kane's obviously come out, and we're going to discuss later, that if Tottenham don't get top four, he's probably going to ask to leave. So for me, if that is genuinely the case, then that's another thing to motivate Tottenham to go and get a win and start trying to believe in themselves. Now, I don't think they would get top four even if they won, but they'll be even more determined now because Jose won't want to lose a player like that. So for me, especially since Jose used to manage Man United, I reckon he's going to do one over Ollie. I think Jose's going to bring it all since it's against his older side, and Ollie's men just aren't going to be able to deal with that sort of pressure, trying to deliver for Ollie against their old manager. And I think Tottenham are going to sneak a 1-0 win. After that, I think they'll come crumbling down again, like they have been. Well, I think for this game, they'll turn up. This is the one game that they'll turn up for the rest of the season, just because it's against his old side. So I'm going to say 1-0 Tottenham. But that's what Jose is. Selfish though. He is that type of man. He thinks about his own stats. He doesn't care about other things or players. He just cares about him and himself. That's all. That's always what it's been for Jose. Always.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was manager of Chelsea, he said he'd never manage Tottenham. He'd never go to there. He said that when he was at Chelsea. Who's he managing now? Tottenham. He's never cared about anybody else. It's just him. And I think that's the type of man he is. And I think that's going to get him a win tomorrow. But we'll move on to the final game of Sunday. Sheffield United at home against Arsenal. 7 o'clock kickoff. Ethan, what do you think the score will be for this one?
I mean, I know, I'd say both teams have been dreadful this season in terms of Arsenal being a big club as such, top six, known as a top six side, and they've just been terrible. But Sheffield United, they're 20th, bottom of the league. But I think Arsenal have got some quality to beat a Sheffield United who are dreadful. And I think they will bounce as such back. And I think they'll get a 2-0 win against Sheffield United.
Okay, fair enough. How's your score prediction for this one?
Yeah, I mean, as you clearly say, both teams are just underperforming. And before I even go towards Arsenal, even the score prediction, if you look at Sheffield United, the one thing they are going, the reason why they were so successful the season before is that again, really efficient and concise, and especially defensively, they had such a well-constructed system which worked for a lot of teams, caught a lot of teams off guard actually. But this season, they've completely lost that system, and without that system, which they basically built their own side on, you've got nothing. There's no direction for their side, nothing. It doesn't even feel like there's a game plan half the time because of that system going. And I don't really know why that system's gone, why they just don't want to do that same thing again. I guess a lot of teams just figured out the plan they were going for, and then they've just been exposed for that, because there's no real key players in Sheffield United. Again, this might sound like an insult, but it's just a team of players who used to follow a system that don't anymore. And that's why they've just lost rhythm and lost form. And again, going to Arsenal, as bad as they've been this season, equaling their loss tally to their win tally this season, there's no question they've got more talent, regardless of the disconnection between the manager and the players. They've got the likes of Aubameyang, Lacazette. These players, as bad as they are, they won't turn up for certain occasions, but at bottom of the side table, team like Sheffield United, it should not be a problem for them, and I'll probably again go for a 2-0 win. I'd agree with Ethan for Arsenal.
Yeah, fair enough. I think for me, Sheffield United are obviously worse off. There's a side, obviously, but they are still both two poor sides, to be honest. I'd say, Sheffield United, they're gone this season now. So we know that they're going to get relegated now. Yeah. The question is, have Arsenal got the bottle, right? And the great thing about Arsenal, from somebody who doesn't like Arsenal, is when you expect Arsenal to do the simplest of tasks, they fail. And that is why they are not a good side. And for me, they're going to fail tomorrow. They're not going to fail badly, but they're going to get a 0-0 draw. I think what's going to happen, right? Arsenal, first off, they're going to go all out at Sheffield. They're going to miss a load of chances, which they're great at doing that with Lacazette as well. And Saka. Saka's a brilliant player, but he misses his finishing is well off at times. So I think, first off, they're going to miss a load of chances. Game's going to die down a little bit. I can just see last 10, 15 minutes, Arsenal desperate going for it. And, sort of Sheffield United nearly having all of their 11 players just sitting in that box, just getting everything away. Just sitting compact in their own half. And I think, even though it's done for Sheffield United, I reckon there'll be a pleased set of fans out there that will get a positive result compared to what they have been getting, a 0-0 draw. So if you're a Sheffield United fan, you're welcome, because I'm the only one that's given the most positive outcome there for you. If it does go wrong for you, though, then, at least I tried. Right.
At least you had faith in them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
Not the thing.
So we'll move on then to some transfer rumours for the Premier League. Right, so we've got this one here, right? Galatasaray have offered Van Aanholt a pre-contract. It's a 3-year pre-contract agreement. Talks are ongoing at the moment between the Turkish club and the players' representatives over a fee for in the summer. Van Aanholt is out of contract at Palace at the end of this season and can talk to foreign clubs. So, for me, and I'll just say this as well, by the way, Van Aanholt, interesting fact here, is 2 goals away from entering the Premier League's all-time top 10 scoring defenders. Which is interesting. I didn't even realise that. No.
I'm actually surprised.
Yeah, same. But anyway, talking about that, right? First of all, we start with you, Ethan, right? Because you know the usual setup of this. Right.
Okay.
If Galatasaray... Yeah. So first, the likelihood of Galatasaray getting Van Aanholt and him leaving Crystal Palace at the end of the season.
Well, Crystal Palace have been poor this season, yet again. But they have, I guess, enough quality to stay up. But I think it's quite likely he's going to move, to be fair, because he's been at Crystal Palace for a long time. Van Aanholt. And a 3-year deal is actually a decent deal, to be fair. It's normally like, with these sorts of players who are aging a bit, they're normally like a 1 or 2 year deal. But a 3-year deal is not too bad. And it'll be a good fit for him, I guess. Yeah,
fair enough. So likelihood rating out of 10 then for that?
For likelihood, I'd say 7.
Okay, and then out of 10, quality of the signing if Galatasaray do that business.
To be fair, like the stats said, he's like 2 goals away from entering the Premier League's all-time top 10 scoring defenders. So he's a good left back.
He's got a lot of pace as well, to be fair.
Yeah, he has. So I'll say you're the best left back in the world, obviously, but he's decent. And so I'll say a 6. Yeah. I'll say a 6 for quality.
Okay.
He's a decent, but not the best.
All right then. So Haz, right? Starting off with this, likelihood for you out of 10 that this would actually happen.
Right. Well, I suppose I'll offer a slight counter to this is my opinion, but basically I think that there's a very good reason why Patrick Van Aanholt has been at that club for so long, is because Crystal Palace rely on him for that position a lot. Obviously, he's their main for a left back, and there isn't really another left back at that club that could really fill his boots at all, really. And because of that, I feel just because they're relying on him a bit too much, that they won't just let him off that easy. Sure, Galatasaray have came with a pre-contract, which means they're pretty interested in this player. However, I just don't think Crystal Palace will just give him that easy. And I think they'll probably counter with another offer. And I don't know, I just feel Crystal Palace, they're a decent side for what they are. Again, competing in the Premier League, I just feel for Van Aanholt is too enticing comparing to just going to Galatasaray. There might be a bigger money deal. That may be why he goes. But for me, just as a player, of Patrick Van Aanholt and Crystal Palace, it seems quite unlikely from that standpoint that he'll go. However, if the deal, as well as being 3 years, is good in terms of money, that might just sway him to go. But overall, I just think it's quite unlikely. And I guess for a rating, I'd probably go for 4 out of 10, I'd say.
4 out of 10. All right, then. So, I suppose then, other than that, it's out of 10, right? If Galatasaray do get this deal done, quality out of 10 for you, if they did that business.
Yeah. Obviously, as you guys mentioned, his pace is a very deciding factor. That's probably his main attribute. That's probably why he's close to getting that stat in terms of attacking, because, I mean, he's using that pace almost as a left wing back. And that's probably how Crystal Palace and the manager have adapted his play to I guess, get the best out of him. So if Galatasaray play that similar sort of style and use those attributes to their advantage, I'd probably say it's a pretty good signing. And in the league, that Galatasaray are in, I'd probably go for a 7, due to it'll bring something different to that league, and I think it'll be quite solid for the team as a whole. So yeah, 7.
Okay, fair enough. For me, likelihood of the deal happening out of 10, I'd say, Luke, I think he will. I think he will go in the summer. Yeah. Palace have got a number of contracts that expire in the summer. That still haven't been. That still haven't been resolved. That's going to be a bit of a worry for Van Aanholt, because they're probably key players. And if they're not even being resolved yet, it's going to be a bit of a last minute panic. I think Galatasaray, the league quality is not the same, but they're in Europe, so I think that's a positive. I think the name itself, I think, might attract him because he's been at Palace for a while, like you said. Why not? I think he'll like to mix it up, see if he can do something different elsewhere. I think as well, Galatasaray will rate him that much. I reckon he'd get more money there. Galatasaray, I think they do offer bigger wages most of the time when they're swooping in for these Premier League players. So I'd say likelihood for me, I reckon it would happen. I reckon Van Aanholt won't agree on a new contract, and I think likelihood, is a 7, like Ethan said. Quality of the signing, I think it'd be a really good quality signing for Galatasaray, especially for the league they're in as well, and the pace that he has. So for me, I'd say I think he's a well-respected left-back, really, as well. He's never really had a season where he's really messed up. I think he's always been consistently decent for Crystal Palace. And I think quality signing, I think it'd be an 8, to be fair. I think it'd be good quality, really, for that position. I think that'd be a decent bit of business. But moving on then. This is... I mean, it's not really a transfer rumour, but I thought I'd put it in there because it is to do with the transfer market. And I just want to see how likely you think this would be to happen. Now, I have got a feeling that me and Ethan have discussed this before. So
yeah, I think we have.
So we can still do it though, because we've never heard Haz's opinion on this. So we'll just let Haz have this one. I think that's fair. So Gary Neville, he's come out and he's urging Man United and the board to try and go all out and sign Varane, right? To help, tighten up that defence. So for you, Haz, then, what is the likelihood, really, of this happening? Generally,
I'm not sure. I don't know. There's quite a lot of little things that decide or not decide this, really. Because sure, Varane as a player as well, he's comfortably in the Real Madrid side. He's a great partnership with Ramos. And, I mean, as you said in the previous podcast, Real Madrid are they're on the rise. They're getting slightly better, obviously, from that fall of, I guess you could call it losing Ronaldo. And they're coming back. However, on the flip side, Man United have had a decent start. Decent season as a whole. They're most likely going to qualify for the Champions League. And therefore, I don't know, it just depends whether Varane wants to change to the Spanish football, because from what I know, he's been there for quite a while at this point. You might want to change Man United. When you look at their side defensively, that's probably where they want to strengthen. You talk about defensive midfielders and attacking. So I'd say the likelihood of this happening is probably. I'd probably say so I'll say a 6 out of 10, I'd say. You probably want to go to a better club. However, if Man United, maybe he'll take another season, maybe, Varane, it would probably be more likely to see, when Man United do qualify for the Champions League, how good they do in the Champions League in that season. And I think that, for a player like Varane, probably would decide if he wants to go or not. But currently, I think it might just happen if Man United offer a decent amount of money. But Varane, personally, for a rising Man United side, the likelihood, I think, is just 6. And I guess the second question would be, for Varane, for Man United, is it a good move? Absolutely.
Exactly, yeah. That is the next one.
It's the one position they need to improve. Well, the one area of the field they need to improve to really secure the top 4, because you've had a great season, but there's always our next season. If you look at Liverpool, there's again, we thought there was guarantee they were going to be top 4 again, but that's obviously not been the case, and obviously that's because of other things, deciding factors.
Yeah.
But you want that security, and I think for Man United, it's almost probably a 9. Or you can't. Nothing's perfect.
Absolutely.
But as a signing, it's almost perfect. And for Varane, I'm Man United. It seemed like a really good deal. So yeah, I'd probably say a 9 for that one.
Yeah, fair enough. I can understand that. To be fair, some good reasoning there. But all right, we'll move on then. Since me and Ethan have said our opinions on that one in a previous, but it's come back up again.
I will say though,
so I thought I'd mention it.
Just one. Well, I won't say anything else about Varane, but I think they don't need Varane. I think they could go for any RB Leipzig defender right now, like a Kanate or Mukulele. They've literally got the same attributes as Varane. Fast, French, tall enough.
No. I'm fed up with this. RB Leipzig rubbish. There's coming out about these. It's a load of rubbish.
Nah, mate.
Rubbish. You go and watch them. You go and watch them when they play. Go and look at their results when they played against the best sides around Europe. They're defensively. I mean, no. For me, no. I don't get this obsession with these defenders. They're good. Not when they're playing the best in Europe. Go and look at some of the teams who've played in Europe and they struggle. And you can go, oh yeah, but that's one-off games in European competitions. Look at them in the league. Oh wait, the Bundesliga? Oh yeah, because that's the same quality as the Prem. Stop obsessing over these overrated Bundesliga players. I'm not trying to be harsh, right? But I do think sometimes we do get a bit carried away with these players abroad, and I genuinely think I think we are overhyping these players. That's all I want to say on that. So I think if United don't go there, too much of a risk. Pay a bit more and get a real quality, because there's no way that them defenders are on anywhere near the same level as Varane. And the fact that you put them on the same... No, let me just finish this off. Let me just finish. This is my last point. The fact that you put them on the same level as Varane is an insult. It's an absolute insult
much, I think,
for everything that he's achieved and the quality that he's got. So for me, don't listen to that Bundesliga, German information, jumbo mumbo rubbish.
Don't trust the Germans.
That's not exactly what I'm saying, but what I am saying is that the Germans do overhype their own players. They do in the Bundesliga.
Oh no.
not
So
completely.
Liverpool are linked with him
but-
as well, so just be careful. You say.
I don't care, man. That's my personal opinion.
Right, exactly. Right. Anyway, moving on because I don't want to insult the whole of Bundesliga. Still a good league, by the way.
Podcast, come on.
Still a good league, by the way, but it's different levels, is what I'm trying to say. Right.
Yeah.
So, moving on then. We've got this. Now, I thought this is interesting because I saw this when I was looking earlier. And obviously we were talking about this in the last pod, about Kylian Mbappe. If you're Mbappe, where would you go? Now, apparently, it's come out that he wants to leave PSG in order to seal a move to Real Madrid. So I'm going to go to you, Ethan, first, who actually said if you were Mbappe, you would go to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this, for me, I can tell it's going to be a high number, I'm guessing, but likelihood of this being the case of Mbappe going to Real Madrid.
Well, his contract's out, and he said he's not going to sign a new deal, and he wants to go to Real Madrid. So I'm going to say the likelihood's going to be a 9.
Okay, and quality, I mean, this sounds stupid, to be honest, but we'll put it in there anyway. Quality on Real Madrid's side of things if they sign Mbappe.
It's going to be a 10.
A 10.
One of the best strikers in the world. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair enough. I didn't expect anything else, to be fair, in many ways. So, has then for you, likelihood of this happening?
Yeah, I mean, if this is correct, if he wants to go there, contract expiring, Paris might just want to let him go, get the money and spend it elsewhere, maybe evolve the club. Obviously now Pochettino's there, and maybe as much as, he wants to hold on to that player, maybe the money he'll get from that transfer might just spur him on to create his own type of PSG, if you like. And, I don't know, just evolve the club. And so, again, if he wants to go, it seems almost picturesque, this whole thing, because it's almost perfect for Mbappe with his contract going.
Yeah.
And it seems to be a good time to move on, maybe face a different challenge. Yeah. So, overall, I'd say the likelihood is probably close to a 10, but I'll probably just edge it to an 8 just in case there might be some disagreements.
Yeah.
And the quality... Yeah. And the quality, I mean, I'll just say 11. I mean, you can't really quantify the amount of bloody, it's going to help that team so much. It's basically going to be a second Ronaldo in the years to come, I'd probably predict. So we'll see. But yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, for me, likelihood, I mean, he's been linked to Real Madrid for a bit now, and, if it's correct that he does want to leave for Real Madrid, which I could understand that, even though I did say, in the previous one, if I was him, I'd go to Man City. Ultimately, I'm not Mbappe, am I? So, for me, I can still understand the argument for Real Madrid. So, therefore, likelihood, I'll give it an 8, just like you said, just in case there's disagreements and negotiations or something. When it comes to talking personally with Mbappe, but I'd say, it's still very high chance, so I'll give it an 8. Quality, I mean, it's got to be 10 out of 10, hasn't it? Which I don't think we've ever given that before, because you have to be that top-notch, player, and that's what Mbappe is. I mean, literally, it reminds me of this channel I watched just because of the name of it. Completed It, mate. That's what it's called, and this is it. That's it for Real Madrid. Completed it, mate. Yeah, I think that'd be unbelievable from Real Madrid. I mean, that could be definitely league title in the bag. That could be Champions League, future Champions Leagues in the bag potentially. I think unbelievable.
Exactly.
10 out of 10. So moving on then. Now, I haven't been monitoring this player as much, but I still wanted to see if you guys have got a view on this. So, Man United and Tottenham are monitoring centre-back Joachim Anderson, who's on loan at Fulham from Lyon, right? So, firstly, I'm just going to start off by saying, do you two, What do you two think of that player? Starting off with Ethan.
Well, the Danish centre-back from Fulham right now. I mean, United, I don't know why I'd go for him, but Tottenham, I can understand.
Yeah.
He'd be cheap. Let's be honest.
Definitely.
He would be cheap.
Yeah.
So, with this new stadium built, they want to keep as much money as possible because they've probably lost a lot due to COVID. So, I'd say the likelihood for Tottenham is like a 6/7.
Yeah.
So I'll say a 7 to round it up. Quality, I'd say a 6. He's a decent centre back, but obviously, like Fulham this season haven't been the best, but they've been improving. Like at the later stages of the match days.
Yeah.
So but for United, the likelihood would be a 4 for me.
Yeah.
The quality would be a 5.
Yeah, fair enough. So has your likelihood and quality for both sides on this?
Yeah, I think for both sides it's equal. But I think both sides really want at least some future for their defence. It's both lacking, so they want an addition. Me personally, I don't know a lot about this player, but therefore I did look up some stats. Firstly, just as a little, it's not the main argument, but minutes per match, 95. He's been there, but he's a solid, consistent player, it seems. And if you look at defending here, you've got 66% tackle success. That's fairly average, I think, for a defender, really. Mostly of these, 2/3 of the tackles actually that were made are successful. Not that many cards, so you can't really label him as a reckless defender either. So I think overall here it's quite a good signing, and it's I guess age 26, is it? His player
24.
24, right? So it's just bordering early stages of the prime age, I guess. So
yeah.
If you're talking about that, the early stages of a prime age, it's almost perfect to go to clubs like Tottenham and especially Man United, who could develop this player and turn him into a really good addition for their side. So I think for quality of the signing, I think for Man United would be an 8, and then Tottenham a 6, because I think with Man United, I think with Anderson they could probably get more out of him, because I think just where they are in the league now, I think they've probably got more motivation to strengthen that part of the field compared to Tottenham.
Yeah.
So that's overall. That's the first rating. What's the second rating after? Sorry.
Have you just done quality, wasn't it?
I said would it be best for both clubs? Is it just likelihood, right? Yeah. Okay, that's the one. On loan at Fulham from Lyon, so he's already had a taste of what it's like to be in the Premier League. So I guess in terms of a shock transfer to a random league isn't really there. In fact, it's probably quite likely he's going to go to the Premier League. Either club, I don't think it really matters. I think overall I'd probably give it again, probably an 8. I'd say either one of those clubs is probably going to be pretty likely to get that player.
Yeah, fair enough. I'd say for me on this, I think as a player who's shown signs of potential, I think it's always difficult to judge because he's ultimately still in a side that he's getting better but is still struggling, and there is, whether you like it to admit it or not, there is a difference in quality between Fulham and most of the other teams in the Prem. So it's always more difficult to judge because it's always going to be harder to sort of stand out when you look at the results on a whole and they're not great. But I'd say for me, starting with likelihood, I think it's more likely for Man United than Tottenham. Now, the reason I think it's more likely to happen for United is because I think United don't like to invest as much as Tottenham, to be honest. I think United, they've got the type of board. If they can get the cheaper option, they'll get the cheaper option. Now,
yeah, true.
And I say that because there is examples of United not going for the higher quality because they don't want to spend as much. I'm not going to go on about it, but quick example of that is Jadon Sancho. Dortmund wanted. Dortmund ended up lowering their offer down to around about 118 mil, and United wouldn't go over 90. So I just think, and he could have, they've been going after him for ages. But, for me, I think likelihood for United, I'd say is a 7. Likelihood for Tottenham, I don't think Tottenham would really go there. I think their defence is such a shambles. I don't think Mourinho would approve if he's still there at the beginning. I don't think he'd approve of that kind of signing, personally. And I think that's a 4 for likelihood. In terms of quality, they both got a similar issue in terms of defence. Saying that, there is a difference, I think, in defence. I think Tottenham are worse off in defence than United right now because at least United have got a leader at the back in Harry Maguire. Tottenham haven't even really got a leader at the back anymore. So I think for me, quality for United would be. I'd say it could be decent. I'd say it could be a 7 because I think with Maguire that could be good. That could be could end up being a decent partnership because even if he's having to adjust to the difference in expectations, he's going to have somebody like Maguire that can guide him and help him to get to those levels. So I'll give him 7. Now in terms of Tottenham,
and like his age as well, he can develop.
Right,
way more under United as well.
Yeah. Now, for me, there's a difference though here because for Tottenham, I think because they haven't got that leader at the back. You could say Lloris, but he's losing it at the moment, Lloris. And I think as well with United, you're gonna have that leader right next to you in the central positions. And with Tottenham, with how much of a mess their defence is, haven't really got a leader out the back, like I said. I think this would be poor from Tottenham. I think they need more than this.
Yeah.
I think they do need a big defensive signing because I think they need a leader back. Yeah, I know Kane, people say he's a leader. I think Kane's a quality player. I don't think he's a leader. I don't think he's I don't think you go. I can't imagine at half time Kane being the one that's going around to all the players, rallying them up, filling them up with like fire and the values to go out and get something in the second half. I don't see that. I think he's just a really good player. So for me, I don't think this would be good enough. So I give it a 4, which I think just does prove it's the same player, but when it's at a different club, it can mean a totally different thing. So I'd say 4.
Sorry, I just want to add a final comment to that. A great example of what you're on about in terms of leadership, especially in defence. Obviously, I'm a fan of Liverpool, and I've seen it firsthand of Van Dijk by himself improving the likes of Gomez and Matip, which were quite mediocre players, I think, even before the first season in which they won the Champions League. However, throughout that campaign, Van Dijk, through just his pure leadership and just him as a player, has drastically improved the likes of Matip and Gomez. And if you look at, say, Tottenham, who don't have a leader at the back, he's got no one to see progress in it. Yeah, there's no guidance and there's nothing that you can really. There's no goals or anything. He's kind of just have to make it up as he goes along. And I think sure he can get advice from a manager, but at the end of the day, he's not going to get defensive advice. He's just going to get general football advice.
Exactly.
And I think it won't be enough from a Tottenham point of view to see him improve. So yeah, I agree with a 4 for you when you're saying that because there's just nothing there. Honestly.
Exactly. Yeah. Final thing I'll say on that is a prime example of what you're saying about Van Dijk. If you can even put it down to one game, Everton away, the game that Van Dijk did get injured in, that crunching tackle from Pickford.
Yeah.
Right. If you look at Gomez, whilst Van Dijk was there with him, as soon as Van Dijk went off, injured, Gomez lost it. Like, he looked like clueless. And for me, that just shows, backs up what you're saying. He didn't have that guidance like he would have done with Van Dijk. It just shows how much of an impact leaders like that have.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on then. So this is really interesting, I think. How likely this would be, I don't know, but we go into it. But it's interesting. Right, Man United are reportedly exploring a swap deal involving Declan Rice and Jesse Lingard after talks on England duty. So it's really interesting. I don't even know where to start with this one. That's exactly why I'm not going to answer it first. So Ethan, what do you think?
Oh, great. I mean, for both, in reality, for both clubs, it'd be amazing. Like a good CDM for United to replace either Fred or McTominay. And it's most likely to be Fred. But attackingly, Jesse Lingard's been ace for West Ham. And I'm guessing every West Ham supporter wants him back. But it won't happen because West Ham, as a club, rates Rice so much, so highly. They were talking about 100 million. And I don't think Jesse Lingard's 100 million worthy, is he?
No, good point. I remember that, yeah.
So, I don't think it will happen.
Yeah.
I'll say for likelihood it's like a 3.
Yeah.
But for quality for both teams, because I think it's equal. It's a good swap deal, but it won't happen because it's West Ham rates Declan Rice so highly.
Yeah.
I'll say it's an 8 for both.
Okay, fair enough. Has.
Again, I think it was quite a shock to see Lingard play as well as he has for West Ham.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, right, I just think when we're thinking about this deal and Lingard going back this season, I just don't see Man United even now getting anything out of Jesse Lingard. There's no surprise that he's been left out of the system, not really given a chance, and when he does given a chance, doesn't really capitalise on that chance. But as soon as he goes to a new club, and arguably, a club that's got not as much quality as Man United, and he thrives under that. Maybe it's a different system. Maybe, the managers, told him a certain style of play he should use, and then he's just thrived under that. However, I mean, to be fair, on the flip side, I think if Declan Rice did go to Man United, it'd be a very good signing because, firstly, it's a defensive signing. We've just been on about how important that is for Man United. And plus, I think from West Ham, he's gained a lot of confidence just in that role, that I would say near leadership role. It's not leadership just yet, but I feel like he commands that central midfield really well for West Ham. And I think it's pretty key to the reason why they're doing so good this season.
Yeah.
But I mean, in agreement with Ethan, I'd say the likelihood is really low just because that's why I was just reminded of how much they priced Declan Rice at 100 or so million when he was first thought about being bought, because I guess at that time West Ham saw the future that Declan Rice has at that club. And I think as much as Jesse Lingard has proven a shock for West Ham, he's just not going to deliver as much attackingly as Declan Rice would, commanding basically the midfield and final third, to be honest. I think Declan Rice adds more to that club than Jesse Lingard. So for this to actually happen, I'd probably even put it as a 2.
Yeah.
Just because Declan Rice is just immense. He's really good, and for the actual club, I wouldn't even put it that well either, because if Jesse Lingard did go back to Man United, I just don't think he would have the same amount of impact, yeah, because, I mean, in that midfield, you've already got a in place system with Fernandes and Pogba. He just doesn't really fit into that system. That's the thing, I just don't think he would fit. And I think he'll just eventually lose his confidence and he'll be placed on the bench again, most likely. So I think for both clubs, I'd probably put it as a 4, just because it's a loss for West Ham, and for Man United, it's just not worth it, I'd say.
Yeah.
So
yeah, fair enough. I mean, for me, looking at it, I'd say, I think what you touched on with Jesse Lingard, and maybe what the differences are for why he's performing so well for West Ham, and compared to the levels he was given at United. I think for me, the main thing is faith. I think, players, I think it makes a massive difference on a player if they've got the faith and the backing from the manager. And I don't think that it's the same. I think Ollie has a lot less faith in Lingard than what Moyes does at West Ham. Now, for me, I'd say likelihood, I don't think it makes any sense. West Ham will never want to lose Declan Rice. He's their captain, he's their leader. And for me, it's weird. It's like swapping a defensive midfielder for an attacking one. So it's not even like a similar position.
Strange.
So for me, likelihood, 0. No way. And quality, 2. I don't think that is good. You're missing out on one quality player to try and get another, but not even in a similar position. I think that's a bit of a mess, really. So yeah, that's what I put for that one. But yeah, moving on then. We'll move on. Should we go straight to the debate question? First debate question?
Yeah.
Do you guys think, yeah? Okay, we'll go on to that then. So the first one then of these 2 debate questions is, so Harry Kane, he said he'll leave, apparently, through Sky Sports, is the main source of this. So Harry Kane said that he will leave Tottenham, or try to leave Tottenham, if they don't get top 4 this season. Right, so there's 2 questions here, which is, where should he go next, if that is the case? Plus, do you think Tottenham will get top 4? Right, so I'll go to Haz for this one. So firstly, will Tottenham get top 4? And after that, if he does leave, where should he go?
Well, I'm probably just going to keep it short because I think it's quite an obvious answer. If you look at the league and you look at the remainder of the games and you look at just the general performance from the rest of the top 4, I just don't see it happening. It's very unlikely. Tottenham have had too many games where they should have won, but instead they've drawn a lot of the time and sometimes lost in games which really shouldn't have lost, and outside the Prem and in the Prem.
Yeah.
And therefore, if it is that, if he didn't make a top 4, Harry Kane is going to go, where should he go? Again, our last podcast I was talking about Mbappe probably wanting to go into Man City because, again, you want that prolific striker. If that doesn't go to the case, and it's certain that Mbappe is going to go to Real Madrid, I wouldn't be surprised if Man City do inquire to sign Harry Kane, because again, it's the same thought process of just a prolific striker who's proved himself again and again, but the only difference is that Harry Kane has just missed out on silverware because, well, it's been quite unlucky for Harry Kane. And so, therefore, I would say, at this current state, Man City just seems the most obvious option, I think, for Harry Kane. It depends on if Man City value Harry Kane enough to replace him over Aguero, I guess, is the main idea. But I think, well, that's my opinion anyway, that Man City is probably the most likely option. Okay,
I'll quickly just say mine then. No, Tottenham won't get top 4. Too far behind. In terms of players, structure, unity, and the manager as well is, Jose's lost what he used to have, the quality he used to have, and the managers that are above him are above him for a reason, because they've got a better setup and a better relationship with the players. So no, they won't make top four in my opinion. Where should Harry Kane go next? I agree with you. I think he should go to Man City if he's got the option. I think it's a likely one as well, because if, like you said, if Mbappe is looking to go to Real Madrid, if Man City want Mbappe, but Mbappe wants to go to Real Madrid, what Mbappe might do is he might say, you know what then, Man City, if you want me, you can have me, even though I want to go to Real Madrid, for more money. Whereas Kane, he's going to be cheaper. He's still unbelievable at finishing, which is what they need. They just need a finisher, since Aguero's going to be leaving. So I'd say Man City. What about you, Ethan?
Well, Tottenham, no way. They won't finish top four. No way. If they do, that's just, how, I don't know. But where should he go? I think we can all agree it's going to be Man City.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys said Mbappe to Man City. It would be a good signing, but he wants to go to Real Madrid. So why not? Why take the chance on Mbappe when you can just go for Harry Kane, who's done it in the Premier League, who arguably has the best shooting in the world alongside Lewandowski.
He's up there, yeah.
And he deserves trophies, Harry Kane does, of how good he is as a striker.
Yeah.
And what a better way to do it than the team who could go for the quadruple this year.
Good point, yeah.
Yeah, completely, yeah. Okay, so fair enough then. So then we come on to the final section of this podcast, which is an interesting question. It's best ever Prem captain so far, in your opinion. So I know this is a difficult one, but it's highly talked about. And I'm going to go to Ethan first on what he thinks is the best Prem captain so far in history.
I mean, there's loads. There's loads of them that have been amazing. You got Gerrard for Liverpool. He was brilliant. It's Terry for Chelsea. Rooney, he was a captain once, I'm pretty sure. Definitely was, should be.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Ferdinand, he was a good captain.
Right. But for you, Ethan, right, what's that one particular one where you go, this just edges it in my mind?
I think the one that edges it is Roy Keane.
Right. Okay. One.
Because,
I was going to say, give us a reason why.
Because in matches, no one would argue with them. He'd be there and just wouldn't give a shit. And the games with Arsenal, when Arsenal were amazing.
Yeah.
With Patrick Vieira, who also was a really good captain as well.
Yeah.
Them battles were amazing.
Yeah.
And I think Roy Keane as a captain, in the changing rooms especially, just gave that motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just shows how many league titles they won when he was there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And they basically won everything with Roy Keane as a captain.
Okay, fair enough. So Ethan's is Roy Keane then. What about you, Oz? What's yours?
Yeah, because this is the thing, right? This is going to look very biased.
No, go on,
I'm willing to put up a very good argument for this, and I think it's more of a reason why most people think he's a good captain. So I'm going to go for Steven Gerrard.
Okay. Right.
Again, very biased. Reason being, right, is since the Champions League final in 2005, all the way up to his retirement, I don't want to say he carried, but he's half the reason why Liverpool were as successful as they were throughout those years. And throughout the drought in 2009-ish to when they finalised on players like Torres and Suarez, he was that main driving force. Again, going back to 2005 in that Champions League, I would say without Gerrard, they probably would finish in the quarters, honestly. I don't think they would have reached the semis and definitely wouldn't have reached the final against AC Milan at that time, who were so much better with players such as Inzaghi at that time. Again, I could go on, but I'm going to keep it this short. Throughout that time of, again, 2005, when he finalised his position in that team all the way up to retirement, he was such a loyal player and such a commanding player. He read the game so well.
Yeah.
He basically fueled the motivation and creativity for pretty much, generations is a bit of an overstatement, but for years to come, I'd say, until 2014. And left a mark in that side, I think. I think a lot of players, including the likes of Jordan Henderson, feed off him. Obviously he was there for a few years before he went, before he retired, I would say. And I think you see bits of Steven Gerrard in Jordan Henderson at Liverpool. The leadership, the independence, the ability to just tell players what to do. I feel for Jordan Henderson was mainly from Steven Gerrard. And overall, I would say in terms of impact, sure, silverware, it's questionable, and the likes of Roy Keane definitely have silverware, more so than Gerrard, obviously. However, I just think just for pure impact to a side, I think Steven Gerrard is the one for me, and I think he's over a lot of other candidates for that, for that question,
And we can say Steven Gerrard was so unlucky not to win a Premier League title as well.
Of course, yeah, of course.
So there's that as well.
Yeah. I feel like it's unfair to say that, but I can't remember who that song's by, but why did you let it slip? Famous line from that song. I can't remember who it's by.
Exactly. We can't let it slip now, boys. We can't let it slip
right.
now.
Listen, right. Anyway, fair play. I understand that. Completely understand that. But I'm going to say mine. Now, this is going to be a shocker, I know. But when you listen to my explanation, you might give it a bit more of a fair judgment for what I've said, okay? I'm going outside the box. Now, for me, Wes Morgan of Leicester City.
Whoa.
Okay.
Listen, hear me out. Let me just quickly say this, right? Right. So the season that Leicester City won the title, right? He played every minute of every Premier League game that season, right? As captain. They were 4,000 to 1 to win the league. We know that, right? He kept 15 clean sheets. He also blocked 40 shots, 95 interceptions, 51 tackles, and 216 clearances that season. Right? And listen to this. All of those stats, you might disregard them. All those stats are actually better stats than Virgil van Dijk's of the 2018-19 season. And that is regarded as the most impressive season for Virgil van Dijk. And all of those stats actually beat Van Dijk's of the 2018-19 season.
Fair enough.
And we say,
I just want to have one counter to that, right? If we're talking best captains in history,
silverware's there. He's won the Premier League.
Longevity, all right. What did Wes Morgan do after they won the title for Leicester? Did he have an impact that lasted 10 years?
I don't care, right? Did listen. I'll tell you why. Did Wes Morgan slip? No. Did he get him? No, it's not. Leicester won the Premier League, right? It's not a low blow, right? They won the Premier League, right, with a side that, was nowhere near expected to achieve what they did.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah,
for me, I just think Yeah, it's a one season. I get it, it's a one season thing. But he was the captain for Leicester's biggest moment ever in their history. Ever. In their history. And that is something that can't be knocked. And when he's got better stats in that season than Van Dijk...
Yeah, that's crazy, to be honest.
It is, and he played, and I couldn't even believe this. I didn't even realise this until I was looking into it. He played every minute of every Premier League game that season.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. I mean, as well, you've got to rate the fitness levels as well that he must have had at the time to do that as well. So for me, like I said, it's a bit outside the box. I get that. It's not. But for me, it's not always about. For me, it's not always about longevity. For me, it's about. Some ways it can be impressive to pull something massive off in shorter space of time. So for me, I've gone with that, and I get that. That might be a bit out there, but for me, he's got some stats that back it up that are pretty impressive. And just because it's a Leicester player and because it's Wes Morgan, I don't think we should knock his accomplishments that he made.
No,
you made it interesting, to be fair.
Yeah, no, that was a solid argument. That did definitely surprised me. Some of those stats, like Van Dijk, you look at that, season and you think, wow, not many people have had a better season in centre back, but you wouldn't think it, would you?
It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely a solid argument. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it for me, and that is everything. That pretty much finishes everything for this episode. So I'll just quickly say, we hope you enjoyed listening to it, because we certainly enjoyed making it. If you did enjoy listening to it, then please like and subscribe. If you've got any thoughts, comments, ideas, suggestions, you've got any of your own opinions on who the best Premier League captain is, or where Harry Kane should go, etc., put it in the comments below, because we will read them and react to those. So, thank you for all the support recently. Hopefully we can keep striving, keep getting better, keep going. And I'm going to let Ethan add something if he wants to.
Just a big episode today. And the next podcast will probably be recorded tomorrow night.
Yeah, because we need to review that shambles from Stoke, yeah. Me and you.
Yeah, Stoke versus Millwall versus Stoke. So like, subscribe. It's free. I mean, it's free. You may as well. If you enjoyed, just give it a like and comment down below anything you think about the podcast. Improvements as well for the podcast. We can take criticism.
Yeah.
So
as long as it's well structured.
If you have any thoughts about the podcast, any improvements we could make, put them in the comments. Why not? That's all from me.
And I will just say, when Ethan talks about the review, it's for Birmingham. That one.
Oh, I said Millwall.
Yeah. No, yeah. I just thought I'd put it in there just because I didn't want to confuse anybody. We're not losing the plot and just reviewing the same games over and over again. It is going to be Birmingham, just in case you're confused by that. So I just wanted to put that there, but we'll get onto that anyway in the next one, obviously. Is there anything you wanted to say after finishing another appearance?
I know, yeah, second appearance for the Azza plays, and honestly, it was again a great time. Obviously, this time reviewing the Premier League again. Like I said last time, put me in 2 cents on a few of these games that I didn't watch, but gave my best effort. And going off the old criticism thing, for example, if you want Ethan to use less swear words, put a 1 in the comments.
Yeah.
If not, put 2, and we'll see. Because we've had a debate about this, and Ethan likes to use his expletives to get his points across, and some people might like that, but if you have a younger audience, please let us know. And and there you go. That's my thing. There you go.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So that is it for this one. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in the next one.
In a bit.